people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the mother relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Yesterday, north of the border, former champion of Canada, Clavell, snapped back to activity and got back in the winner's bracket, winning a points decision over Bousairi, doing what she does best, staying fast and effective, mid-range to inside, ripping combinations, 2-punch combinations, 3-punch combinations,
counters,
angling off, moving her head, moving her torso, bending at the waist, bending at the knees. Clavell is a quality operator with a balanced approach, and it is unfortunate that she didn't get the decision in her last fight opposite the ring Argentinian champion Evelyn Bermudez.
because she should have.
She did enough, and having home field advantage to boot, not just being the hometown fighter, but the house fighter. The promotion was behind Kim, and she won the fight. She won it legitimately, but for whatever reason, Evelyn Bermudez got the nod. She got the decision, sporting a professional record of 18 wins with 2 losses, no draws, 3 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 20 professional bouts. You wonder if Clavell will go for a rematch. A second crack at the apple because she hasn't left the light flyweight division. Yesterday's contest was still there, where Evelyn Bermudez currently reigns as a unified champion. Jessica Plata of Mexico alongside her, the only 2 champions at this weight.
Kim fought them both.
She suffered her first professional loss at the hands of Jessica Plata, and she lost that fight. She definitely lost that one, but she didn't lose the Evelyn Bermudez fight, or she shouldn't have. That fight took place in October of last year. Kim has had her very first fight of this one yesterday, and it appears she already has another fight on schedule on the 16th of next month against an opponent that has yet to be announced.
She's still with Yvonne Michelle Promotions, a very well-to-do Canadian-based promotional outfit up there. They do a good job of keeping Kim active, keeping Kim busy.
She'll be returning to action next month against an opponent that has yet to be announced, and because she hasn't moved up in weight, because she hasn't left the light flyweight division, she's still there, it gives me the impression that she might try to get a second fight with Evelyn Bermudez. She might, because she's still there. She hasn't moved up. She hasn't moved up to flyweight, where Marlena Esparza still reigns as that division's only unified champion, and Gabriela Fundora reigns alongside her as IBF champion.
I figured after Kim suffered that controversial loss to Evelyn, she might decide to move up in weight, but she stayed. She stayed at light flyweight.
And the titles haven't changed hands. The champions themselves,
2 of them,
they haven't changed, so I can only deduce that because Kim is still there, she may pursue a rematch with one of them just as well. 2 weeks ago, East LA's own Senicia Estrada was crowned undisputed champion at minimum weight, and she said that she's all but done there. She's not going to stay at minimum weight. She's going to move up. Will she move up to light flyweight? And if she does, is a Kim Clavell fight a possibility?
It could be if Kim can get her hands on some belts.
I remember well over a year ago, there was a plan of sorts in play to perhaps put Senicia in the ring with Kim in the future, provided that Kim Clavell remained a champion. Now, things didn't go to plan. She's not a champion anymore, but she can be if she gets that rematch with Evelyn Bermudez. I like Kim Clavell's chances to win a second fight, even though by all rights, she should have won the first. Things are shaking, rattling, and rolling at or around these weights, and if Kim can secure a title at light flyweight, a Senicia Estrada showdown seems likely. It's my understanding that Senicia is going to be getting married this summer.
She's going to take a little bit of time off.
Perhaps she'll come back in the fall and winter months as a light flyweight. If Kim plays her cards right, she takes care of business next month, then maybe secures a title shot in the summer.
Wins.
That could set up a Senicia Estrada fight in the fall or winter months. For now, congratulations to Kim Clavell for advancing to a professional record of 18 wins with 2 losses, getting herself back in the winner's bracket, and already having another fight on schedule. She's hit the ground running this year, and she wants to do big things. I've no doubts.
Credit a possible great fight such as Lomachenko, who would probably be the best fighter on Tank's resume, regardless if he has a loss to Haney. I was trying to say earlier, we've seen it this weekend.
That is the problem.
What is the
That
problem?
is the problem, bro. You're gonna wait 7 years and Loma's still the biggest name on your resume. Motherfucker, kick rocks. Stop defending this god-awful dog shit. Motherfucker should have been unified, motherfucker. He should have been fought Loma. You out here capping, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? You a fake.
What have I lied about? Listen,
Bro,
I have
it's
no
not a good
issue.
fight. It's an old
It
fight.
is a good fight.
spoiled
It's two
milk.
of the best
It's spoiled
fights.
milk.
What are
It's
you
spoiled
talking
milk,
about?
man?
Lomachenko is
man.
still on some people's pound-for-pound list.
That is a noticeably frustrated Nestor Gibbs of the Boxing Voice, who grew discontent with the caller's assertion that all of a sudden a Vasyl Lomachenko fight is the fight to make for Gervonta Davis, a fight that he has avoided for years, a fight that he's not even really pursuing, but the caller is intent on talking it up.
Selling it.
How so many Gervonta Davis fans are determined to gaslight the boxing community at large, the entire boxing community, to try and get them to view Gervonta through the same lens as they do.
Vasyl Lomachenko is very close to fighting for an alphabet title against a former champion like himself in George Kambosos, and he may yet win it.
Most people think he's going to, but a Vasyl Lomachenko fight here today is not what it was years ago, back when both he and Gervonta were down there at 130, and not even when they both moved up to 135, that you're a day late and a dollar short. You don't wait up until Teofimo fights him and Devin fights him to swoop in afterwards.
Before they even came into it, the centerpiece of the conversation was a fight between you and him. You let them beat you to the punch.
So once again, it's not like Gervonta or his team are pursuing this fight. This is merely the caller's suggestion.
Gervonta's fighting Frank Martin. After that, he'll likely fight Isaac Cruz.
Yet another limited fighter that you will find on Gervonta Davis's existing resume that his fans so often try to talk up and oversell. So one Twitter user that goes by the name High Level Boxing rate Mario Barrios as an A-, Leo Santa Cruz as an A-, and a Hall of Famer.
These are supposed to be A-level boxes.
Leo Santa Cruz is a Hall of Famer. He has a Hall of Fame resume. Hector Luis Garcia, a super featherweight who moved up in weight for that fight. They expect me and you to give Gervonta Davis credit for that, while at the same time advocating against Gervonta moving up for Devin.
Saying that Devin is too big.
Well, what was Gervonta Davis in a Hector Luis Garcia fight? Hector's a super featherweight.
Gervonta's a lightweight.
So Hector has to move up 5 pounds for Gervonta Davis, but Gervonta doesn't have to move up 5 pounds for Devin Haney.
The guy rates Ryan Garcia as a B-plus fighter, a B-plus.
Needless to say, I don't agree with Gervonta Davis's core supporters' skewed perceptions of the sport of boxing and the fighters that he has fought so far, how they rate them. They deliberately overrate them because they know there are a lot of fighters out there, more decorated fighters than these guys, that he's not fighting at or around lightweight. And what his fans would prefer is that he not fight them and fight a super bantamweight instead.
What?
A super bantamweight in Naoya Inoue. You heard that right.
I had a guy named TJ Berry tell me that Inoue and Gervonta are closer to the same weight than Gervonta and Devin.
Based on what Devin rehydrates to, claiming that Devin weighs well over 170 pounds the night of a fight.
What?
That's what he said. He said, we have knowledge of Tank and Devin's weight differences, so what is the problem with an Inoue fight if y'all are really pushing for Tank to fight Devin?
What?
They are literally closer in weight. Y'all are hella hypocrites.
And this is what I mean.
They're giving Gervonta Davis a pass to not fight Devin Haney because they're claiming that Devin Haney is too big.
Too big for Gervonta.
But Gervonta's not too big for Naoya Inoue. Naoya Inoue, who just got to 122 pounds, and that's his 4th division, his 4th weight. He's already moved up in weight more times than Gervonta.
What it really is.
They don't want Gervonta to fight Devin Haney because they're afraid that he'll lose.
So you'd rather see Gervonta fight a super bantamweight?
Who's at his 4th weight right now. How many more divisions would he have to climb to fight Gervonta Davis. The writing, as it were, it's on the wall that you can't be all that impressed with Gervonta Davis, that confident in him, if you think a Devin Haney fight is out of the question. Because Devin's too big for Gervonta, wouldn't that make Gervonta too big for Inoue?
Double standards.
Double standards and logical fallacies, because if the hang-up is that Devin has moved up in weight and now he's too big for Gervonta, well, Gervonta had the chance to fight him before he moved up, when he was right there at 135 alongside him, before and after he became undisputed champion. To that, an underdeveloped teacup of a man that goes by the name Bang Bang Boogie said, money over belts. Tank doesn't give a fuck about a belt and the fees that come with it.
Then why has he been paying sanctioning fees for a regular title since 2019?
And why is he in possession of a full title now? It seems that he was only interested in holding the full WBA title so long as he didn't have to fight anybody for it. Anybody like Devin Haney or George Kambosos or Teofimo Lopez or Vasil Lomachenko before him.
Money over belts?
If it were really about money over belts, then why is he fighting Frank Martin instead of Devin Haney? The Frank Martin fight isn't a bigger money fight than the Haney fight. Turki Al-Sheikh was willing to pay him to fight Devin Haney. Bring the fight to Saudi. Get some of that Saudi money, which right now is the best money in boxing.
Can't be money.
Frank Martin isn't a bigger money fight than a Devin Haney fight by any stretch of the imagination. Frank Martin isn't as popular, isn't as well known, and certainly isn't as accomplished as Devin Haney.
It's more logical fallacies and lame arguments.
Bang Bang Boogie Guy claims the reason Gervonta didn't unify titles was to skip out on paying sanctioning fees, and yet
he's paying them now.
And when have you ever heard of a cash cow skipping out on unification matches to save a few bucks on sanctioning fees? I mean, that's not what Floyd Mayweather did. That's not what Canelo Alvarez does.
He's undisputed. He has all the belts.
He was unified at middleweight. He's undisputed now at super middleweight. When have you ever heard of a cash cow not unifying titles with other champions at the weight to save a few bucks?
It doesn't happen.
The real reason it doesn't happen with Gervonta Davis is because he doesn't want to fight any of the capable fighters at the weight. He's afraid. He's scared.
His team is.
But Bang Bang Boogie didn't like that idea. He said that's being scared or just pointing out that your man's a weight bully. I just think that Tank being scared of a guy he almost knocked out in sparring is wild.
The Twitter user that goes by the name Fly Eagles Fly said, really? Bringing up sparring sessions from 8 years ago when he was 17.
It's what these people do. They bring up these infamous sparring sessions that Gervonta Davis had with some of these fighters, in this instance, Devin Haney, and Devin was a kid. He was literally 17.
It was close to a decade ago.
And what you're saying is because Gervonta may have got the best of him in a sparring session years ago, years later, he shouldn't have to fight him.
What?
He said, yeah, that's a preview of what would happen now. LMAO. Imagine if Tank was in shape and had a camp.
Imagine if you didn't have his dick in your mouth.
What is seemingly a mixture of idol worship and a grade school crush. How so many of these effeminate little men think so highly of Gervonta Davis while simultaneously protecting him.
They're so overprotective of him.
They want me and you to believe that Gervonta Davis is this amazing fighter. He's the best thing since sliced bread, but he shouldn't have to prove it. He shouldn't have to fight Devin Haney.
Because Devin's too big.
Well, all right. What about Shakur Stevenson? He's right there at 135. He's got a title. He's WBC champion. What about him?
Forget it.
There were excuses for him not to fight Vasil Lomachenko years ago. Years later, there were excuses for him not to fight Shakur.
Nope.
Not to fight Devin.
It's always an excuse.
Because for these people, the baseline to every single argument they have is that Gervonta is never in the wrong, and he shouldn't have to do anything, which wouldn't even be the worst thing in the world. You can root for him for whatever reason you root for him.
Go ahead.
But they want me and you to root for him too. They want me and you to view him through the same lens that we view other fighters that are doing things that he is not doing.
And God forbid we advocate that he fight those fighters.
Because here come the logical fallacies. If we do, it just doesn't make sense. And what it really is.
It's not boxing. These are not boxing fans.
It's not about boxing. It's a mixture of idol worship and what is a grade school crush.
They're attracted to Gervonta.
These very effeminate young men and their latent homosexual tendencies. That's what it's really all about, and that's why they're so protective of him and his image.
They like his ugly little tattoos.
He's their little pocket rocket. And they won't have me or you talking him down for not doing what he should be doing.
You just want Gervonta to stick it up your ass.
What you really want is for him to play hide the peanut butter in your sphincter.
Maricón.
Culero.
That's what they are.
That's what it is. You think Gervonta is such an amazing fighter, so amazing that he shouldn't have to fight these guys? Then who do you want him to fight? Why do you even watch him?
They're attracted to him.
This is what the American boxing scene has devolved into. What is tantamount to picking your favorite football team based on the color of the uniforms.
That's what it is.
It's just a bunch of sissies supporting a guy they're attracted to. It's got nothing to do with boxing. One guy said that Frank Martin is easily top 3 at 135 pounds for having done what?
What?
Top 3 ahead of Shakur Stevenson, ahead of Vasyl Lomachenko.
George Kambosos.
Proxy wars, more proxy wars. That's what it always devolves into with Gervonta Davis. They're now talking up Frank Martin preemptively so that should Gervonta Davis beat him, it will mean something or have the appearance of meaning something when all Frank Martin is a 30-year-old prospect.
He hadn't done shit.
And Gervonta Davis is not that far behind him in terms of age. What's he now? 29? 29? Close to 30?
It's a reality check.
That's what this video is. That's what these videos are. I wouldn't find it necessary to make so many of them if there weren't so many people trying to gaslight the boxing community at large about Gervonta Davis, his resume, and what he's doing, what he's been doing for years.
He's a fucking coward.
His fans are a bunch of fucking cowards who celebrate his cowardice, his degeneracy, because it reflects their degeneracy.
Garbage.
He will not do at the box office with Frank Martin what he did last year with Ryan Garcia. That goes without saying. They've added David Benavidez's fight, his upcoming fight with Alexander Vosdik, to that show in the hopes that it will drum up business, help to sell the show overall. But in reality, what do you think that's going to do at the box office? $1 million? $500,000? Whatever it does, it will likely be a far cry from the numbers that he did last year with Ryan, making it all that more obvious that he's not the cash cow of anything. What he is the poster child for sissies and cowards.
Hype job.
That Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia could possibly bring in more numbers than Gervonta Davis's next fight. And if it does, that illusion of him being the biggest name or the biggest draw.
What if Haney versus Garcia sells more than Davis versus Martin?
No, I don't think Haney versus Garcia is going to do 1 million or over 1 million pay-per-view buys like he did with Gervonta Davis last year. I don't think that, but I do think it's possible that Haney versus Garcia does the same or more numbers than Gervonta Davis's next fight. And if it does,
It's a sharp decline for Gervonta.
what could be an incline for Devin?
A step up.
Remember that Devin is younger than Gervonta Davis, and he's still building his name. He's still building his brand. If he goes in there with Ryan and he beats him, that does whatever it does. He moves on from that. He has a Teofimo Lopez fight afterwards, also on pay-per-view. What will Gervonta be doing in the mean in between time? Who will he fight? What will that bring in?
It may get to a point where he can't ignore Devin Haney anymore, and the demand for that fight.
As it turns out, it may turn out to be the only money fight left out there for him. Unless he wants to fight Ryan Garcia 2 or 3 more times.
He can.
Because you're not going to do no numbers with no Frank Martin.
Maybe you can run it back with Isaac afterwards.
Isaac Cruz for his WBA title at 140. But then what? After that, what are you going to do?